a question that would not be necessarily applicable to this year's Vols, but we have the NFL and their running backs banding together to address the position's reduced financial power. Here's what's happening. Even the Saquon Barkleys, which Caleb, I believe you and I would agree is the air quotes generational running back of the past few years. If you're going to give anybody money, it's him over the past 5 years. But nowadays they shuffle them in and out. It wouldn't be Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm a Cowboys fan, and that's horrible. So has there ever been an irreplaceable Tennessee running back? That will lead us to today's tough question. And today's tough question is brought to you by our friends at Zen Sports.
Today's tough question. Take a side. Take a stand. The Dave Hooker Show, a presentation of offthehooksports.com.
In a lot of ways, we could argue Tennessee was ahead of the curve because it seemed they had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs ready to go at different points during their most successful times in their history. So has there ever been an irreplaceable Tennessee running back? I want your thoughts on the message board if you can. Again, hit that like button, turn your notifications on if you haven't already. So we've got some big things coming up. But today's tough question, has there ever been an irreplaceable Tennessee running back? And it's brought to you by Zen Sports. Zen Sports, the new sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. That means no more deposit bonuses that turn into deposit nightmares. On Zen Sports, what you see is what you get. And with their cash rewards program, you get a lot of cash. For a welcome bonus, earn an unlimited 5% cash back on your betting volume for your first 15 days when you sign up with the code HOOKED. That's right. HOOKED, unlimited, 5% cash back. Pretty awesome. Keep betting, keep earning with up to 3% cash back on your betting volume every month. After that, and refer friends to earn a percentage of their betting volume as cash rewards too. Zen Sports is bringing the cash back to Tennessee. So if you bet big on sports, you want to be betting on Zen Sports. Zen Sports betting just got better. May I tell you a story about a Tennessee running back that was replaced, that was one of the most talented running backs in Tennessee football history? I'm waiting to get my hair cut. I believe it was a Sam's. By the way, we welcome on Sport Clips very soon as one of our new advertisers. So that's where you want to go. Support our sponsors, including Zen Sports. Download the app today. I'm sitting there waiting to get my hair cut. Her name was Lori, because I'm very particular, even when I was 10 years old, about who cut my hair. And I'm sitting there and I hear a break-in on WIVK that Reggie Cobb was not available for the upcoming Alabama game. And this was probably a Tuesday-ish because he had failed a drug test. And he would not be available, and he was suspended for the rest of the season. You immediately think, Reggie Cobb, there is no possible way that Tennessee could overcome that. But Tennessee did. And Tennessee was still known as running back U, even without Reggie Cobb, and when he was suspended and essentially dismissed, I guess I should say, from Tennessee. So that illustrates what I believe is one of the best traditions of running backs in the nation, not just the SEC. If you can replace a Reggie Cobb, and they were able to, and you're going to bring up another player, Caleb, that they were able to replace, Tennessee was, you're talking about a pretty incredible group of running backs that Tennessee has had over the past generation. When I say generation, I'm talking about 45 plus years.
Yeah, I think that, and that was the proof of how irreplaceable they were. I mean, Tennessee had a future NFL 2,000-yard rusher go down for the year in 1998 and proceeded to still dominate the SEC in rushing and win the national championship. 2001, they had lost. I'm speaking of Jamal Lewis, obviously. Jamal Lewis leaves. Travis Henry comes in. Travis Henry sets the all-time Tennessee football rushing record. Both those running backs go on to be NFL Pro Bowlers. Yet the guy who replaces them, who's nowhere near in their class talent-wise, Travis Stevens, has the best single season in Tennessee football rushing history, going for nearly 1,400 yards in 2001. I'm having trouble looking back in history and finding a time when a running back was irreplaceable. And I'm even going into the Robert Nealon years. Okay, you hear of George Gaffigo, you hear of Beatty Feathers, you hear of Gene McIver. When George Gaffigo was dominating at Tennessee in the 30s, they had a 3-time All-American guard in Bob Suffridge, the only 3-time All-American in school history, another guard in Ed Malinsky, and a tackle in Abe Shires. Okay, that's 3 All-Americans he was running behind. Something tells me if Gaffigo, now I will say Gaffigo did get hurt in the Rose Bowl of 39 and Tennessee lost to USC that year, but I think that was by far the best team they had played at the same time. So I can't think of a time when a running back was irreplaceable, honestly.
No, and Elias had one that would have been in response to Reggie Cobb. So it was Chuck Webb that stepped in the next few years. And if you look at that group in particular, I think Chuck Webb is the best running back that maybe I've ever seen in person. But when he went down, there was a Tony Thompson that I believe rushed for 223 yards in his first game as a starter. Now, a lot of this speaks to Tennessee's offensive linemen, and we don't want to overlook those. I mean, there were tremendous holes, and Tennessee was able to benefit from that. You mentioned Jamal Lewis. They go to Travis Henry. Was Travis Henry a special back that would rush for 2,000 yards in an NFL season? No, but he was a very, very, very good college back, no question, and
he was a good NFL back.
And a good NFL back. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The one that I think would have been irreplaceable is Alvin Kamara. And the reason I think he would have been irreplaceable is he gave the Vols just enough of a spark that we all know Jalen Hurd was not fit for Butch Jones's offensive system. It was a get in recruiting he felt like he had to have, or it would have looked bad. But Alvin Kamara should have run the ball much more. We all agree. But what is that offense without his 2 or 3 plays a game? He only touched the ball like 9 or 10 times a game, but it seems like he would have 2 or 3 that would at least move the chain or something. So you're more dialed into those years with Butch, because that was the weird part about SEC Media Days is Caleb kept wearing his Bring Butch Back shirt in front of the other ring. I'm kidding. But you were more dialed in. Had they lost Alvin Kamara, who steps in for that versatile role? And how big of a step back does Tennessee take because they're depending on Jalen Hurd, who wasn't a good fit? Alvin Kamara didn't get hurt, but I'm trying to rack my brain of one guy that would be the most difficult to replace.
No, actually, that's the thing. I'm pushing back. Even Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara did get hurt in 2016. John Kelly came in and was as productive. Now, yes, Jalen Hurd himself was not fit for it, but John Kelly wasn't as fast as Alvin Kamara, wasn't as good in general as an athlete, but in that system was just as productive as Alvin Kamara because the system was Josh Dobbs and Mike DeBoard. And as long as you fit the prototype, it didn't really matter who the running back was. So I have to be honest, even Alvin Kamara, who should have gotten more touches than Jalen Hurd, doesn't necessarily mean he was irreplaceable, because we saw what happened when Alvin Kamara got hurt in 2016. John Kelly actually averaged 6.5 yards a carry in 2016, got over 600 yards. Alvin Kamara averaged under 6 yards a carry in 2016.
Okay, so let's talk this year. If you had to have the most irreplaceable back, who would it be? Elias says Arian Foster in 2005. Travis says Alvin Kamara should have been running back number 1. I agree with that. Who would Arian Foster's backup have been? My goodness, I covered that team, and I don't really remember anybody.
Ontario Hardesty, maybe? He was hurt. Coker, Lamarcus Coker may have been the backup that year.
Yeah.
Because Gerald Riggs already went down with a season-ending injury, right?
Yeah. I mean, I loved Arian Foster. He hated me, but I loved Arian Foster and what he brought to the game. Hardesty is another one that we never saw the top end because it was so pitiful, and I felt so bad for him. In post-practice interviews, we'd say, "How's your knee?" I mean, we couldn't ask anything else. And at one point, he hurt the other knee. And I can remember saying, "How's your knee?" And he goes, "It's getting better. It's feeling better." And I said, "Montario, I'm sorry. I didn't specify which knee. How's your left knee first? And how's your right?" I mean, he was that beat up. He gave it all for Tennessee. So is there an irreplaceable running back on this roster? I don't think so. I think Tennessee would have to lose 2 tailbacks to feel like that their running back room got bereft or devoid of talent. Jalen Wright's probably the most proven / gifted of the group. Jabari Small's not far behind. We all saw what Cameron was able to do in the spring, which I think means a lot. Let's talk about the rest of the running backs. Khalifa Keith's going to be a short down back, so he's very replaceable if they had to. And then Tobias brings up a great point. If 2 went down, I think Dylan Sampson would make the shift to running back more. I think Dylan Sampson is going to play different positions, including the slot some this year. But I think that he would be a full-time running back if 2 went down. It would definitely be Dylan Sampson, who I love his speed and ability. But I would have to take 2 to say that Tennessee's running backs took a hard hit via injury or academics or whatever else. I don't think there's an irreplaceable guy on the roster this year. Do you?
No, and I still don't even know if 2 went down, they'd be irreplaceable. I mean, last year, Josh Heupel didn't have a power back. All he had to do was move Princeton Fant over and put him at running back and use him as the power back. And this is the problem with running backs in the NFL. And this is what people don't get. And Dave, you might find this interesting, but I read a great tweet thread last week. The problem with running backs in the NFL is too many of them now are good and physically gifted. In the 90s, Jamal Lewis, even though I thought running backs were replaceable then, Jamal Lewis was a rare specimen in the 90s, right? You did not get a Jamal Lewis every day on a recruiting trail. Now, half the NFL has Jamal Lewis's in there. It's not that special anymore to get a Jamal Lewis.
Do they really?
And I think so. I mean, the raw athleticism, because let's be honest, the number one thing, a running back is raw athleticism, and all they have to do is learn how to pick up a block. That's all they really got to do when they get to college, right?
Yeah, but I think Jamal Lewis was another level, especially when you consider the fact that he had the ACL injury, and that probably took a step away. I think when you talk about the most talented tailbacks in the past 25 years in the NFL, maybe we're talking Barkley, maybe we're talking Elliott at their prime. Elliott likes to eat.
What about Marshall Faulk, maybe,
but different. But anyway,
Yeah.
in terms of a power back, I think Jamal Lewis is right up there. So I'm not having.
But I guess where I'm at is the problem with running backs is there's too many good ones. There's too many good ones, so there's nobody that can separate themselves from the pack. See, with quarterbacks, let's be honest. At any era of football, there's never more than 10 good quarterbacks, and there's 32 teams. But you can find 65 good running backs among 32 teams. And
I would argue that it's not. There's that many more running backs. It's that if you have a Jamal Lewis, you should wear down an opposing defense for 20 to 25 carries, and then he starts to really blossom. But I don't think people want to go that way.